call the meeting to order. Start with a pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Warner.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Horowitz.
Here.
Trustee Pell.
Present.
Trustee Stafford.
Here.
Trustee Welker.
Here.
Sir, we have a quorum present today.
Thank you. I'd like to waive the reading of the correspondence, being that we all have copies of it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to open it up to the public portion from anybody that would like to address the board before we start to do the permit applications. Yeah. Could you please come forward, state your name?
You gonna explain rules for public
Yes.
portion?
Public portion, there'll be a 3-minute talking. Also, please keep it respectful and address the board, not other people in the audience. Thank you.
Me to sign it?
Yes, please.
State your name for the record, sir.
Will Becker. Three minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay. The center window of my home was shot as I sat there with a friend January 13th. I'm here about safety and because too much has been said in these meetings about my family. Yes, my family watched and listened all over the country to the meetings as they are recorded. I will no longer permit disparaging remarks about my family, my home, nor our heritage, and we no longer want to be a target at our home or here. I was issued a blind permit after being guided and directed by the trustees and town attorney and their staff pursuant to our meeting in this room January 29th. I'll be hunting this season, as is my right to do so. A little history. 2 hunters were shooting illegally and recklessly at ducks as they flew between my home and the blind. They shot my house. I called the police, the Bay Constable, the DEC police, and the trustees. Everyone knew what happened except the Southampton press, who didn't even contact Ike Bobstein of the DEC police and read the report before they wrote an article glorifying an illegal shooting of a residence. In May, I hand-delivered my letter to the trustees. I've got a copy here, notifying them that I did as they instructed and asked that they tell the Bay Constable and previous blind holder that I will apply for my blind permit August 1st. None of this is a surprise to anyone here. Make no mistake about it. The trustees didn't reach out to me regarding a compromise in any way. The only response I got was to come in and sign paperwork and my permit in the mail. Apparently they had their own agenda on what was occurring and this blind and had enough, and this is their message. I understand the message. I just should have not been used as the messenger. In my opinion, the solution would have taken about 5 minutes, a simple compromise between legal hunting and me. It would have required an apology from the shooter and their ownership of the illegal shooting, but none of that occurred, so I had to act to ensure my family's safety, and I did. The answer could have been me owning the blind and sharing it, and the blind being stored during non-hunting season. Very simple. Now the trustee's solution is to remove the homeowner preference clause in the law that they instructed me to use, putting homeowners and hunters at odds for no reason. The lack of transparency is alarming in not only notifying homeowners and will have repercussions because it impacts every home on waterfront in the township. Hunters have legal rights as well as homeowners, but homeowners now will have none, causing a huge problem. My suggestion is to create a committee that includes homeowners and hunters to provide the trustees ideas on what is really needed, simple, honorable, common sense modifications, not to start unnecessary conflicts. We all need to solve this together, not sneaking things by homeowners in the off-season without their knowledge, forcing them to focus on the hunters who are not the problem. Again, I should not be the messenger of this. The longtime hunters are the ones to be listened to. They know there needs to be lots of updates that make more sense. The world has changed. Everyone here knows the rules here are a mess. Honestly, so many of these good people here just can't tell you because they need your backing on so many personal projects, and I shouldn't be the messenger at this point either.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
In closing,
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have to give you this from the people from Davis Creek. In closing, I
All,
submit,
all comments that...
these are the signatures from Davis
Well, any
Creek
comments that
requesting
are
that
not going to be put into
that
the
it be a
record.
seasonal blind. These are all the homeowners on Davis Creek.
Are you submitting written testimony or written record? Because that will be a,
Well, this is
accounted
what they
for.
all, this was on your letterhead. This is from homeowners on Davis Creek requesting that the blind that is now mine be a seasonal blind, just like me, Cox Bay.
well, we're going to have to, it's a whole process.
Thank you.
Mind if I make a comment?
Yes.
Mr. Becker, I just want you to understand, there was a public hearing that took place not too long ago about some changes to the Blue Book regarding these duck blinds. That public hearing was properly noticed and people spoke during that hearing. There is still a public comment period for written opinions and statements to come in. I believe that's expiring today. What you've said here today will not be part of the official record for that public hearing for the change in the Blue Book. If you want to submit any written comments, you still do have time to do that. But I want you to understand that this is not the public hearing. Sorry?
When and where do I do it?
You could submit it to the trustee's office. It'll be stamped in. It has to be there before 4 o'clock today.
I'll just submit this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
We submit that letter from all the people from Town Point.
It's right here.
It's already been submitted, right?
We got it.
I have it.
No, but you want, we want it stamped.
Okay.
Well, that'll be stamped when you go to the office and submit it.
I'd like a stamp
Bring
ahead.
this with me.
You can bring them all and
No,
submit the
that's
whole...
already been submitted, that one,
That's
right?
what's been submitted to the
You're submitting
board.
this into the record now, sir, right?
Want
Sure.
me to sign it?
It's up to you.
Signature really has no effect. We know who it's
I
from.
wrote it.
You want to take authorship? Go ahead.
It's our home,
Thank you,
so they
sir.
have to resubmit this?
I'm going to put it into the record right now. There's written comments, right?
There's written comments.
Yes.
Correct?
You're allowed
It'll
to
go in.
submit written
Is
comments
it going to go
until,
into where you told me it should go?
Yes.
Yeah.
until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
No, I'm confused. I have to bring this down?
No.
No, no,
Back
it's
to
all,
them?
it's
no,
submitted.
you've
You're
done
you're
it.
good.
You've done it.
Yes, you're done.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board?
Maybe that should go over there.
Need a pen to sign this in?
Here.
Thanks, Ed. Francis Adam Chesky.
Thank you.
Just leave that pen right there, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Francis Adam Chesky. Lived in Southampton all my life. I just want to know if you guys are thinking about having another night meeting so the public can come in and voice their opinions about other things. It seems like, you know, there's only a few people of us here, but when at nighttime more people can come. And my second issue is, I stated this before, that the bay bottoms, the water bottoms are all trustee freeholders' property. It's not private property, it's the freeholders' property, it's the town trustees' situation to make the laws, protect our bottoms, our water. Private homeowners do not own the water. The bay bottoms, they do not own the bay bottoms. Restrictions on buffers between the high water mark and their houses. Maybe we should look into some issues of buffers between, like a lot of people don't have landscaping, like on Lake Agawam. Maybe we can freshen up Lake Agawam by making sure that there's buffers. I know think the DEC, is it 50 feet or 50 yards? I'm not quite sure what it is. But I just want to state that maybe we can help clean up some of these bay bottoms and lakes and stuff like that, with making sure every homeowner around water property has a buffer around the lakes. Like Lake Agawam's the worst lake in New York State, so I'd like to try to help clean that up, and maybe we can get together and talk with some of the homeowners or all the homeowners around Lake Agawam to clean the lake bottoms up, or the lake water. And you're doing a good job with surf riders and testing all our waters. I appreciate you doing that. That's awesome. And I just wanted to state that the bay bottoms and the water are not privately owned. They're to the freeholders, and that town trustees have the rules and regulations to rule them. Thank you.
Fran, I'd just like to touch on the buffers. Our jurisdiction, as far as the trustees go, we take a 10-foot jurisdiction specifically when there's a rock revetment or a bulkhead. Everything landward of that is either on the Conservation Board or the villages and such.
So I can go to DEC, it would be better to
Well,
go to DEC?
if you're looking to initiate buffers, I would reach out to the Lake Agawam Association and have conversations with the property owners or the people that maintain their property. The
Okay.
first 3 years I was on this board, I went with Fred Habermeyer, and they would have an annual meeting, and I sat with Fred, and we basically were advocating for pushing the fertilized lawns back landward, and they were not very receptive to it. I mean, you know, everybody likes to, seems like to have a fertilized lawn.
Yep.
The only thing they really wanted to do was to basically do lily pad removal, put some bubblers in there for fountains, for, you know, basically ornamental stuff, so that the, you know, people could see the water being pushed up, and to remove Phragmites. Phragmites is an invasive species.
Yes, I know
You know,
that
it's,
as well.
you know, and it's one of the species that thrives around Lake Agawam, and the homeowners don't really like it because it cuts off their view to the pond.
Correct.
Once you start removing the Phragmites and pushing that back, there's really no cause for them to plant anything other than their natural turf grass there. And that's even worse because it doesn't have the wicking effect that the Phragmites does.
Exactly, because
So-
I used to work on Wickapog, and they got all the homeowners to, except for the people I worked for, they didn't want the Phragmites removed because it was like a buffer, and they liked it because it actually sucked up the fertilizer and stuff before it went into the
Yeah.
water. And then once they removed all the Phragmites, that pond was like the cleanest pond going. And as soon as the one year they did that, the next year, blue-green algae.
Yeah. Well, just so you can reach out to the village and, you know, the village.
I'll go
mayor.
to the village.
And
I will
would,
go to.
you know, if you want to
go to Mike
bring
and-
one of us trustees with you, I'd love to sit in on the conversation, because it, you know, it doesn't bode well looking at a bright
Yeah, that's,
green.
I figure the homeowners might want to work together, and maybe they can, fund some of our,
Some of the homeowners do want to work, but our Blue Book only covers if you're putting in a bulkhead. I got resistance from some of the board members. We had a gentleman in Watermill, and they said, no, you can't do it. And technically, the way you read the Blue Book, you and I could come up with a different version. But I've asked a few of the homeowners to do the 10-foot buffer, and they're more than willing to do it, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, plus I think specific to Agawam, even though the trustees own the Bay Bottom,
Right.
we own it, I think that there was some arrangements made probably 50-some-odd years ago that kind of passed the regulatory authority on much of that water body you're talking about, I believe, to the village of Southampton.
Okay.
So there really probably needs to be a conversation, especially since, now the water quality has gotten so bad that, there needs to be, we need to get everybody around the table to try and solve the problem.
Exactly.
You do realize the stormwater drainage starts.
Oh, I know.
at-
When I was a little kid, I used to
County
go
Road
from
39, so.
TD roofing all the way to the drain to Lake Agawam.
Yeah.
My
so-
mom's
Yeah.
not listening.
So it's way beyond what this board, but our board would love to work with
Yep.
the, other boards, and
Yeah, it's like all the
People
drain
to-
systems seems to go towards Lake
Yep.
Agawam from the roads, and that's a big problem.
right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fran.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board?
Thomas Ford.
Thank you.
I have a statement I'm reading for someone. It's notarized, and I'll submit it as part of the written record also. Stated September 18th, dear trustees, our home center window was shot by hunters in the duck blind in the front of our home on January 13th. I am concerned about safety and am insisting upon it. Why you are not talking about an illegal shooting and dealing with the shooters, question mark. I'm 85 years old and have been here in Southampton most of my life. This is my home. We recently were given the only duck blind hunting permit on Davis Creek by the trustees, but only after the trustees told us to look in the blue book for our answers, exclamation point. Now we will hunt while our family, home, and neighbors are safe. It appears you are requesting a little family background after, I won't say his name, disparaged the family on December 17th and spoke with no knowledge nor truth. Just because he worked for my father doesn't mean he knows anything about the family. He owes us an apology. Why he didn't just call us before he spoke, question mark. My father and mother brought the family to Toad Point in the 1940s, and we rented many of the wonderful cottages that may still be there today. We purchased our land from the Tuppers, but I'm not sure who we purchased the wetlands from. My father purchased it to ensure our view, as North Sea Development was going to fill the meadow and build. My father made a very good decision. I still have the North Sea Development plans if you want to see them. Our home was finished in 1949. We were awarded a CO by the town several years ago, as they did not issue them until 1957. A little history for this gentleman and the trustees. My father hunted here. I remember the ducks hanging from the bathroom window. During the 90s, we donated his shotguns and shells as they were rusted and moldy to the police department. Any talk to the contrary is simply not true. I was there. There is still a gun safely stored in my father's old closet. The entire family has significant knowledge of guns as they served in the United States as follows. My brother, the United States Coast Guard. My first husband, the United States Army/Korea. My second husband, United States Air Force. My eldest son, the United States Army. If you have any questions regarding our knowledge of firearms and family service in the military, I recommend you contact the Veterans Administration. We know war and service, and we don't like being disparaged by anyone saying different. My 3 children have excellent knowledge of the use of firearms. Oldest son received marksman awards in the Army. My youngest receives extensive use of guns in Maine. My middle son, Will, was the best shot in the family and competed throughout Maine in the late 60s and 70s before he went on to a career as a
30
professional
seconds.
athlete. Did you?
30
30
seconds.
seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. My family and I have hunted, fished, crabbed, eeled, clammed, kayaked, swam, and walked the beach for more than 70 years here in North Sea. This is our home. My brother's fishing boat was moored in the front of the house in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. His bullseye sailboat was at Peconic Marina until donated to a camp for children. I await so-and-so's apology. He was always a good man. I have no idea why he made up stories in
minutes.
front of.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll submit this right now. It's notarized.
Yep, we'll stamp it in.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask, is there going to be any other, I looked at the thing, is will there anything else about the blinds or anything like that in this meeting?
Not,
Okay.
whatever's in the agenda,
What's that?
whatever is on the agenda.
Yeah, I didn't look like it was there.
Yep,
I
yep.
wasn't familiar with your.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? If not, I'd like to do the permits. Thank you. Trustee Resolution 2018-226, application for Prime Marina SH Holdings LLC, 6 TP Street, Hampton Bays, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-230-01-032.002, body of water, Shinnecock Canal. We had worked on this at the work session. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Excuse me 1 second. Did you put the covenant that they have to clear up their land line within a year?
Well, we have a permit that's good for a year, Billy, so like I said to you in the work session, after 1 year, if it's not
You
done,
said
we...
that you were going to put it in. Okay, go ahead.
There's no
That's all
covenant
right.
in here, but
Go ahead.
second.
if you want to go into that...
No, that's fine.
I met with the property owner, and originally, we had met with the property owner before it was sold. Since it's been sold, we've met with the property owner, and we're in the process of working through any issues that are on the site, just for public record.
Okay.
All right?
I'll second your.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Bill, you're voting no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I got trustee resolution 2018-227. It's a renewal application for the town of Southampton, 89 Dune Road, north side of Dune Road, west of the Ponquag Bridge. I recommend its renewal.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2018-228. It's an application that we worked on through several work sessions. At this point in time, the trustee resolution meets all Blue Book regulations and recommendations of the board throughout those work sessions. Application is for 23 Old Point Road LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 0902-005-01-11. I recommend its approval at this time.
Second, all in favor?
No.
Aye.
Bill, you're voting no?
Yeah, because it's up 18 inches for the bulkhead.
Thank you.
I got a renewal application permit number WRC00049, 277 Surfside Drive, LLC. We discussed this at work session, and this meets the Blue Book requirements. I'd like to make a motion, goes through.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill, you're yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Application of 24 Holly Lane, LLC, 24 Holly Lane, Watermill. We discussed this at work session. I'd like to make a motion, this goes through.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Trustee Resolution 2018-229. This is a renewal of first permit number FXD 00035 for Todd Cohen, 31 Homans Avenue, Queog, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-383-1-24, body of water, Aspetuck Creek. It's construction change existing of support piles and green heart piles from high water mark seaward and change of seasonal dock structure to fixed dock. I'd like to recommend its approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2018-230. This is also a renewal for the property at 116 Point Road, West Hampton Beach, body of water, Mauritius Bay. It's to construct a dock with a 3x20 ramp, a 6x20 float, and 2 float securing piles. I'd like to recommend its approval.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Want to do the resolution?
That's yours,
Yes,
it's under me.
Trustee Resolution 2018, authorize the purchase of clamshells, where the Trustee Resolution 2018-159 requires a authorized resolution for any expenditure exceed $1,000. Whereas the clamshell has been approved by the DEC as long as a certain criteria are followed, and the trustees would like to place these clamshells in certain areas among the town. Trustees are in process of obtaining quotes of clamshells that fall within the DEC parameters, and resolve the trustees hereby authorize a purchase up to $6,000 of clamshells from the lowest responsible bidder, once all the quotes are received.
I'll second on that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No. I think this needs a little more discussion. I'm not sure if it's sustainable. And I think that rather than putting clamshells down, that the roads could be graded as they have been in the past.
Trustee Horowitz?
It seems as though there is some more discussion that needs to be had
wait.
relative
No
relative to
problem.
this board. I noticed Trustee Stafford also has some concerns down there.
Yeah, if you're putting shells on Peters Pond, I mean, we caught enough stuff for we put them in Watermill.
Yeah.
But Peters Pond, it's a tilted road, it's not a flat road. So that rain comes off of Daniels Lane, it's gonna wash them right out into the pond, or it's gonna wash them to the sides of the roads. And there's not enough time in the day to keep sending the maintenance truck back down there. We need to put stones down, at least we'll start a hard base, and they're easier to hold on to.
All right, at this point in time, I'm going to vote no, because I think we need to work through this situation and figure out really what makes the most sense for the trustees relative to
The
this. And-
motion fails?
Yes, but I'd like to make one clarification. These shells are not all going to be put
Yes,
on
on the road.
roads, on launching ramps, or at parking lots. Some of them are going to go in the bays like Mecox Bay, and working with Cornell and the college for oyster clutch. So
Clutches.
I just want to make that,
Clear.
clear
Right.
that it's not all specifically for a
Yes.
road project. So I will,
President Warner, I'm going to do a formal roll call.
yes.
Okay. Trustee Stafford.
No.
Trustee Welker.
Can we table this?
Well, it's
So that
we've
for
already-
getting,
further-
it's getting.
It's already failed,
gonna
but-
get-
Yeah, we
I
can
mean,
do,
what do you
we'll do it
think?
again, that's no big deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
You could bring
So
it
no
back
at this
for a
point.
Second time after discussion, but I think it's already been called for a vote. I think she's
Okay.
just trying to clarify what the vote actually was.
Okay. So no, but further discussion, please.
Okay. Trustee Stafford, Trustee Welker, Trustee Pell was yes, President Warner was yes, and Secretary Treasurer Horowitz was no, correct?
That's correct. I
Okay.
believe
Yes.
this needs more.
Okay, so
More,
the
examine.
motion fails 2-3.
If this is gonna be put back in and it says for bays only, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But didn't we used to go up somewhere up west with our own trucks and pick up shells for a lot cheaper?
Yeah, we used to season our own shells down off of the Dune Road.
What happened to that?
The guy, you can't get him there anymore. He has found another town to take him up there closer.
Well, we were picking them up, right?
Yes.
We were picking him up.
So maybe we need to examine that again, because I thought that worked out well. We were supplying this Stony Brook, Southampton, and, we had discussions with the public. I think at any rate, at this point in time, I think
You
we
can
need
look more
to,
into
we
it.
need to look more into the whole situation before we move forward, and I think the board will feel better about the decision, so.
No, I'll do a little more research, and I'll get some more information from Cornell and the college as far as where they go in the bay and what they're used for the board's, education. Not a problem. Thank you. Trustee Resolution 2018-234, warrant number 18 for 2018 for the sum of $9,439.98. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustees Resolution 2018-235 authorizes emergency opening of Mecox and Sagaponack. I'd like to see that go through.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm really glad this is happening because looking from Mill Pond, looking at the water mill, there's definitely blue-green algae coming from Mill Pond into Mecox. It's probably down as far, it's under the road, and it's probably down as far as like the top part of Hayground Cove, so, or the cove there. So this will help, for sure. And besides, the cut's really high.
We have to go to executive session today, Mr. Chairman?
One other thing I'd like to add for trustee resolution 2018-226, the one that you had read, Scott, is that we're going to, the renewal application fee for $400 will be waived because it's a town project.
Correct, that's right. Town projects, we waive the fees.
Clarify that for the public. If no one has anything else, I'd like to,
Before we go into executive session, I'd just like to put in motion one night meeting between now and the end of the year, and then ask for perhaps one night meeting each quarter, or one night meeting every 2 months in 2019. So
I think we need to,
just starting the conversation.
right, that's good as a start of a conversation. I don't think we should make decisions right now. I think we have to check with other schedules for the room and security. I think night meetings can be good. However, I think the last two have been counterproductive. I think that if they're handled the right way and there's topics and everybody's respectful, I think it can be good for people. But I think if they just, if it's just for the purpose of, disparaging people's personalities, reputations, or just, then we're not really accomplishing anything. So I think we need to establish a protocol. I think everybody has to be respectful of that protocol. Then I think it's okay, but I think that we need to do some more research before.
Just in interest of transparency and for the public's knowledge, I think that night meetings are really helpful. So as I said, just like to start the conversation.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of history, because looking into doing the night meetings, Mondays and Fridays, the security in the building after 6 o'clock, there's no security. So if we're going to do a night meeting, it would probably have to be an alternative night other than Monday or Friday. We should probably look scheduling it like more than a month, probably 6 weeks out, so that if we're going to have a night meeting and people want to attend, it'll give them time to adjust their schedules, as with our schedules, because some of us have other meetings and other obligations. And as far as going forward for next year, as far as night meetings, Lisa will ask us our preferences on dates and stuff like that to schedule the 2019 schedule for the meetings. So if anybody has any thoughts as far as night meetings and scheduling them, we should insert that into her schedule when she does that, so we can make it work easier.
Yeah, see, at
All
this
right.
point in time, we've set our meeting schedule for the entire year. So people have made plans, staff has made plans,
Consultants?
Consultants have made plans. I mean, we've accommodated them for the last 2 night meetings, because I think it's good to have people come and participate. On the other side of that, I also think it's important for the board to be able to be productive and constructive. And the last 2 meetings, they really, for the board, from my perspective, haven't been very productive or constructive. And they've been, at times, destructive. And I think that the board has to lock down a protocol that's fair to everybody that comes to those night meetings to be heard. And then it could be something that's a good thing every few months. And certainly for special topics, I think it would be good. I know we had some night meetings that were surrounding hunting. We had it in Hampton Bays, which seemed to be a convenient location for folks at the community center. And I thought that was a beneficial thing that we did. So I think it's a good idea to look at it, but I think you also have to look at it realistically, and I think you have to look at it respectfully. Okay?
One further thing I'd like to comment about the the duck hunting and the waterfowling program. We're going to start up the, basically advisory committee again. We're going to sit with a couple of the trustees and a couple of the bay constables, make recommendations for people to be on the committee. So going forward, we're going to reinstate that. And I think that was a great conduit for our board, because it allowed you to have smaller meetings, get some good information, and bring it back to our board so that we could work on issues. So going forward, we're going to reinstate that just for the public's, notification. Thank you. No one else has anything that? Yes.
I just want to know when is the vote for the resolution for the waterfowl for the 250 feet homeowner's property? Is that going to be coming up the next meeting, or are you going to do that in private?
No, it should be on for the next meeting. Our attorney, Martha, she had an medical issue, so she wasn't able to get it together for this meeting. We have Rich Harris here sitting in for her. So hopefully that it will be on for the next meeting.
The resolution wasn't on today because the public comment period is still open until closing business
Gotcha.
today.
I
So once
figured
that
that out when
closes,
you said that to Mr.
then it's on
Becker.
for the next meeting. That'll be a resolution before the board.
Okay.
October 15th.
October 15th, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
October
Okay.
15th, 1 o'clock. Okay, thank you. And I've spoken to Rich Franks about getting the meetings together and the board back together with the hunting, and I extended my hand out to him if he needs help and
Yep.
need people on the board. I'm more than willing to help out, so,
Thank you, Fran.
all right, thank you.
You have a motion to go into executive
Motion
session?
to close and to go in executive
Second.
session. All in favor?
For the purposes of?
Litigation.
Jess, can you hit the?